Yes, and that's happening on the silence. That's Coach Kevin Onyango taking through the kickboxers who are in the studio, and we're talking about the kickboxing in the country and how they are doing their thing. Of course, there are several events that have happened already and others which will are scheduled to happen this year. That's on their calendar. And with me in the studio I have Huma Jaffet, or Taki Master, as he is popularly known, who is the president of the World Kickboxing of Kenya Federation, right? And Wilson Chege, who's also accompanying him, the Secretary General of the World Kickboxing Federation of Kenya, and Kevin Onyango, who is the coach and taking the kickboxers through the sessions. Yahuma and Wilson Chege, welcome to the site, right? And I'll begin with you, Yahuma. Takid, how has this particular sport gained momentum in the country? I know you, there was a recent event over the weekend in Nakuru, very impressive turnout.
That's true.
Yes.
In fact, I'm so happy about how World Kickboxing Federation Kenya is doing, for sure, because we are just like 6 months old from when I was appointed as the World Kickboxing Federation Kenya president. So we've been doing well so far, because first event that we had from when I was appointed as the president was in Kayole. That was on the 24th last month, which we had in Kayole. It was a seminar. Then after that, on Saturday last week, we went to Nakuru. It was our first ever national championship, and it was held in Nakuru County. You know, me as the president of World Kickboxing Federation Kenya, I decided to go to every county, because you know very well that with Sports Act 2013, they do say that we should at least venture in not less than 24 counties. So we are trying to work hard as World Kickboxing Federation Kenya to spread it to every county. Then another thing that I needed to talk about so that people would understand what World Kickboxing Federation Kenya is all about. With World Kickboxing Federation Kenya, we do have different kinds of styles. And then again, we do participate in amateur, like the one that was in Nakuru was amateur, then professional level. Because we have different styles like Muay Thai. Muay Thai is from Thailand, where they use elbow strikes, they use knee strikes, and they also use their shin to kick instead of the top of their feet. Then again, we have things like Sanda, we have full contact, we have light contact, we have low kick, we have K1, we have MMA. MMA stands for mixed martial arts. So that's the best thing with it.
Head coach Tarik Master.
And what's the most popular one?
The most popular one in the world now, MMA is popular for sure, because you can see people like Francis Ngannou of Cameroon,
Adesanya.
Israel Adesanya of Nigeria. We have Conor McGregor. We have the lady who retired recently from Brazil, Nunez. So if you look at all these people, they're all from mixed martial arts. But they started with things like karate, taekwondo. They ventured to kickboxing, full contact, and then they later changed to mixed martial arts.
Yes.
And now mixed martial arts pays well, because you see, even Adesanya, while he competed and won his match that was like 2 months ago, he was paid 5 billion, you see? Meaning that this thing is a great venture to any kind of youth who would like to venture in anything, like talent-wise. It's good for self-defense, for body fitness, and also as a career. And Adesanya himself also has built a lot of things in Nigeria, Ngannou the same way. So kickboxing, or let me say combat sports martial arts generally, is a good thing to venture in.
And of course, I mean, MMA leading the way for kickboxing, and you read about how all those talents, they trace their origin in Africa. And MMA just announced I think the best news could be for Africa, but targeting countries where the leading stars come from, you know, Nigeria, Cameroon, and all that. They could be setting their tent in Africa. How is that good news too?
It's a good news, in fact, because even recently I saw Francis Ngannou from Cameroon. He came back home and he had to build a martial arts stadium there at their place. And I think that's the first ever martial arts stadium in Africa. And we as WKF, the best thing with WKF now for Kenyan, all Kenyan combat sports fighters is that WKF is into both amateur and professional. And if you look at MMA, all those guys who are participating in MMA, are all professionals, not amateurs, you see. So we are starting to build from amateur level, which is from 3.5 years to the top. Because from school levels, because right now WKF has gone to different schools. We are in primary schools, we are in high schools, we are also in universities and colleges, and now we are also venturing to go more deeper into our forces, discipline forces, also like KDF, GSU, prisons, all that, NYS, so that all these our fighters could be employed also to get a way of survival. Because you see, there's another thing that you just mentioned that I would talk about, things like all these guys, if you trace their origin, yes, it's in Africa, which we agree, but another thing is that they came from the slums and the ghettos. All these good fighters come from all those places, you see. So we are also working with all these fighters who are coming from Kayole. There's a club known as Hardcore from Kayole. We have another one known as the Kids from Dandora and Durai 44. We have Dagoretti Dragon Club. If you go to Nakuru, you have Kivumbini. We have Red Hawk. There are different kinds of clubs. And all these clubs or players, our fighters who are our future champs, come from the ghettos and the slums. Yeah. So you see,
we all know the reason why. There's limited opportunities, and MMA is the only thing they have to kick out of the ghettos. Wilson,
yes.
I mean, looking at the order, the run of events, right, per the calendar, are they enough to take the game where the office has set its vision for?
Yeah, we have enough arrangements because the next tournament will be in Nairobi, 26th of August. We'll have it in Nairobi. Yeah, the venue will announce it later. Yeah, it will be President's Cup. It will be the first President's Cup in Nairobi since he was appointed in the office. So I think we have the calendar is fine. Yeah.
And maybe looking at the number of events that have been held so far, how would you rate the interest, then amount of interest that has, the reaction that has come from all those who want to take up this sport?
I have been in kickboxing now for like 10 years. We have done it for like, we have had like, before we have like 20 tournaments, more than 20 tournaments, but the recent event we had in Nakuru, that was the biggest turnout I have ever seen.
In a decade?
Yeah, like in a decade. Have not seen an event like that again. So, judging from that, we are heading somewhere. Yeah.
Yes. So, Takid, maybe you could, Coach Kevin Onyango is leading boxers there in, sparring. Is it called so? Like in boxing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and the demonstration.
Yeah.
But that's a combination of Muay Thai?
Yeah, now the guy who's punching now is known as Atomic Meshach from Hardcore in Kayole. And what he's doing and the way he's even dressed, that's Muay Thai style. So with Muay Thai, he should be using his elbow, but right now he's doing the punches. That's double jab, reverse punch. But now, if he'll be using his elbows and also using the knee strike, that will now be Muay Thai. But right now what he's doing is just full contact kickboxing. That's now pure kickboxing. Now the elbow strike is from Muay Thai now, the one that he has just done. Yeah, now elbow strike, that's Muay Thai. So now we have different kinds of styles now. The other two guys, the lady and the guy, Ian Lee and Caroline Chepchirchir, will be showing just normal kickboxing. But Atomic should be showing us Muay Thai.
Do they fight in different categories?
Yeah, they fight in different categories. We have different weight categories that they fight in.
What are the categories? Maybe you could just elaborate on a few of them.
Yeah, now with the categories, we have like light welterweight, we have like cruiserweight, we have super heavy. There are different kinds of weight categories. And again, there's another question that people do ask us about, what about if you have kids? If we have kids, we don't look at the weights mostly. We look at the age also, you see? Because there's no weight category that we always have specifically for the kids also. So we always look at their ages. Then we can't go past 1 year from a competitor. If one is 12, they can play maybe with the 13-year-old. If 11, can also play with maybe the 12-year-old. But with the weight category, the difference is always 3 kgs. That's the most heaviest that you can go. So if you are 60, you can do between 60 to 63. Yeah, those are the difference that we do.
So in Nairobi, what are the opportunities available for the kickboxers? You talked about Kayole Hardcore and Githurai as well. What are the clubs?
Yeah, number one thing, first of all, the World Kickboxing Federation Kenya has 17 clubs so far. And in Nairobi, we have Hardcore from Kayole. We have Takids from Githurai and Takids from Dandora. We have Dragon from Dagoretti, where Coach Kevin Onyango comes from. We have also Explosive, is also from Githurai 44. We have Kibra, Mixed Martial Arts. We have Lionheart from Kangemi. Those are in Nairobi. There are a lot in Nairobi. Then from there, now again, if you go to different counties like Nakuru, we have Kivumbini from Nakuru. We have Red Hawk from Nakuru. Then we have Jonieza from Nakuru also. Then now we also have one in Homa Bay. Then in Diani, Mombasa, we also have another one. If you go to Kilifi, we also are based there. So we have different kinds of clubs in different places. But now, because me as the president, what I decided is that it's good to go to the ground to see how things are working with all these players. Because all these clubs that I've talked about, I've been visiting personally. So we know all the problems that they are going through and what's needed. Number one thing, we don't have gloves. We don't have our own ring, because kickboxing is the most expensive combat sport for sure. Because just getting a ring goes for like 40K. If you want a ring, it's 40,000. Then we have to have medication there, things like ambulances on board, because the injuries maybe might be there, but that's in every sport. So what we always say is that if we could get all these gloves, we could get the pads, we could get the punching bag, maybe even a ring. We could be hosting a lot of leagues, because right now we are planning to start even some leagues. Yeah.
Yes, and maybe I could engage Kevin. Kevin, coach, maybe could ask what are the qualities of a good mixed martial arts kickboxer?
Okay. For you to be a good martial artist, generally, let's talk of first physical fitness. You have to be physically fit. Then we talk of discipline. That's the main thing now. If you want to talk of martial art, each and every martial art, you need to be disciplined. And above all, you also need to be physically fit for you to be able to play this game. Because when you don't have energy, like energy to even kick or even punch, you are not going to make it in the game. So that's why we are required to do a lot of physical activities so that you are able to play the game very nicely. As you can see, the guys here, they are well toned. Their body is okay. If you can see, the guy here is tall, but at least much toned. So even you can even receive the punches. When you punch him, he will just take them as they come. So generally, we need to be physically fit. That's the main thing. Physical fitness is a must. Above all, it requires you to have discipline to play this game.
A highly contact sport. How do you encourage the young ones or those who want to take it up?
Okay, for the young ones, let me say the young ones will learn from the adults. So if our adults will take up the sport as required, you will find that the young one will also copy from them. So for us to give the young ones the good picture, we also need to be training and we need to be having discipline so that when they see what we are doing, or even when they see where the sport has taken us, they will also come up and be wanting to be where other guys are. So even now, like now, they will see the guy, maybe even ladies, they will see the lady on the television. They will also want to come there so that they can appear in the same platform, yeah? So what I can say, let's just encourage the young ones, more so the parents. Let's encourage the young ones so that they can also join the sport. The sport is not for harming people. It's just to keep us fit. And as the president has said, it's for self-defense. So self-defense, it doesn't mean that we fight back as other people think. Self-defense, it will help me the mind of thinking on how to save myself when I'm in a certain situation that doesn't require me maybe to do something very stupid, yeah? So I'll just advise the parents to just allow their kids to join the art so that the art can grow. Otherwise, that's it.
Yeah, and you also train at Dagoretti. You train a club in Dagoretti, right? What are the prospects, future prospects of the team? You can talk about the quality of the players that are there, as well as their hopes and dreams in the sport.
Okay, if you talk of the dreams of the sport, even me, I'm dreaming. So I've been having a big dream to see the sport in many places. So with this, I still talk of the support from different people and different organizations so that they can support us to uplift the sport from the grassroots. Because you always find that in other sports, not many sports generally, I always see it with the athletics. There is where you find that there's a lot of support as compared to other arts. If you see things like boxing, the taekwondo, kickboxing, those things, most of the time the government doesn't give them the first priority, and that's what I'll ask the government to help us so that we can lift this sport and put it in the place where it is required to be.
Yes, and that's Kevin Onyango, who is the coach for the kickboxing, and in the studio. Wilson,
yes.
Back to you, right? And Kevin really raised a great point there about the support, right? The support that the sport requires for it to fully blow up or gain the required traction in the country amongst the enthusiasts or people who like to take it up. How would you say that the support has been, especially you can talk about how the office has put up efforts to make sure that it grows despite the fact that, because the government or whoever wants support you has to find you in the game already.
So first of all, I and the president have traversed several, we call them wards in Nairobi and Nakuru. Trying to make this game popular, WKF. So we will continue with that. So in the next 2-3 weeks, we'll be in Mombasa. Is it Mr. President Liani? You will go there, popularize the game there, then come back. We go to, next will be Homa Bay. Yeah. So generally, first we are doing is to make it popular, make WKF Kenya popular. So from there, we can start looking for sponsors and talk from the government. Yeah.
As a former player or as a person who's been in the sport for a decade, what will be your, I would say, how can you predict the future for the sport?
So WKF, what you are looking for is producing professional fighters and also producing professional coaches. Not everybody will make it to be a professional fighter, but they can make it to be a professional coach. So we'll be sending them to schools, club, to train other people, and they get money from there. When you're a professional fighter, you'll be getting paid by the federation direct. So that's our program for now. Yeah.
Yes, and you could add on what is really the future of the sport, Takid.
Yeah, the future of World Kickboxing Federation Kenya, if I may say, for sure is bright. And my plans as the president is that I would like to change the narrative that people do have about martial arts. Because people do think that martial artists are just maybe bullies on the street or something. That's why we talked about self-defense and discipline mostly. And then another thing is that according to what my Secretary General Wilson Chege has just talked about, is that we are trying to traverse different counties and also to talk about sponsorship. But now, remember, there's something that we talked about. There's no way you can go and talk about sponsorship or even talk to the government to come and support if you guys are not organized already.
Yes.
And to be organized as a federation is that we should have different kinds of activities.
Yes.
Let me say events like what we had in Kayole, that was a seminar on the 24th of June. What we had recently, let me say on Saturday, the first national championship in Nakuru County. all these things, and then the President's Cup is coming on the way. 28th October, we also have the national team selection, because we should be having our national team ready, because we have a lot of assignments internationally also as a WKF family. Because remember this, Bernard, most of these players all want to go internationally for the assignments. If you just keep them in Kenya, every time they train, the tournaments are just in Nairobi. If they go far, is Nakuru, then back. And maybe if they go even further, is Mombasa. That won't work. Because remember, if we want to make and to prepare our next Adesanyas, we have to have a lot of activities, competitions, and not only locally. We should have them locally and also internationally. So what I would say, and I always tell people every time, before we ask our government what they can do for us, we should also show them that we are capable of doing all these things, because there's no one who will come and fund you if they are not seeing what you are doing. So right now we are preparing our teams. We are making sure that the teams are all prepared. Then another thing that I said is that I don't want to be biased. What I do, and because remember, I was also a player, both in kickboxing. I did taekwondo. I was a national team player also from the age of 17, because I started martial arts at the age of 12. Now I have 30 years in this game. So the experience that I have, and remember, I've never done any other job also. I always just do everything to do with martial arts. Yeah, all martial arts. So that's why I have to run these sports well, and I have to bring something to an end that whenever we start selecting our national teams, we as the leaders, we always get in and interrupt and corrupt everything. That corruption has really killed every sport in this country. Because I do ask myself, Bernard, does it mean that all footballers should just be coming from Ziwa, where in Nairobi area? No. Does it mean that all boxers should be coming Nairobi, kickboxers, what? No. We should go even to different counties and get all these players. That's where we'll get best national team to represent the country. So that's what I'm planning right now. And all those are in my office also. Know it very well that corruption is not a thing there. Then another thing, number one thing that we should put forward are players. Because I do tell our fighters that they are our bosses. There's no federation that can be there as WKF if we don't have fighters. We won't be having FKF if we don't have footballers. We won't be having Athletics Kenya if there are no athletes. So we have to look the well-being of our fighters first. That's the thing. Yeah,
and of course, you talked about corruption. How has the federation sealed the loopholes for that, and maybe going to looking for players across the country? How did Nakuru Championship give you how was it like? Did it give you a better way of gauging how if you went out there, number of talents that you can gauge?
Yeah, it gave me a good gauging for sure. Everything was high, everything was successful. Because if I could look at it, this is the first. Remember, last time I was here, some years back, I was the National Competition Secretary for Kenya Kickboxing Federation. And we've been having these tournaments. I've been there for 14 years in the office. But for now, as the president for World Kickboxing Federation Kenya, I've been there. Now it's the 6th month. And if you look at it well, the reception there was really amazing for sure. Having more than 70 fighters is not an easy thing. Then we had the young ones, we had ladies. The ladies were like almost 20 of them. And if you look at different sports or what we always had in kickboxing, we always had like 2 ladies or sometimes 3 of them. If they come, there are no competitors, you see, all these things. So it shows me very well that this thing will grow. It will go far as per my plans, you see. So what I would say is that number one thing, what I was talking about corruption is that, remember, we have good fighters. Then there's a time that we want to select a national team. A fighter comes there, then because you're a coach to that club and your fighter has not been elected, you feel like you should fix him. No. For me, I won't allow that. Even if my own club, which is the kids, won't produce any national player, I'll just be fair with it. Because to me, my selection will always be with merits.
Yes, and of course this goes along to the number of tournaments that they have fought during the season and how good they are. One of the tournaments that are coming, you talked about how it's been really slow for the federation to attract female kickboxers. You have a championship in Tanzania. Talk about how you're planning to approach it?
Yeah, that's now what I'm planning, because I recently just talked to the World Kickboxing Federation Tanzanian president, because we have a African body, the continent body, that we are also members. And in fact, soon we are going to select our director of World Kickboxing Federation Africa. And lucky enough, it might be from Kenya that will emerge maybe the winners to have the director himself from Kenya. And if we make it as having the director of Africa, all of Africa from Kenya, normally it will be none other than Takit Master himself, because what I've been doing, and that's something that I've been told already by the World Body President and also the World Body Fraternity, the executive from Australia, that whoever will be elected or appointed as the president of World Kickboxing Federation Africa will work with them. That will be the only African will be in the body, which has 8 executive members from Australia. So you see, if we could be having one of us in Africa, can you imagine?
Making decisions.
Meaning that, and it won't take long.
What do you think is the urgent agenda for Africa?
Urgent agenda for Africa is that, number one thing I do tell people, like now Coach Kevin Onyango was a taekwondoist. Me the same, Chege the same, but we also ventured in these kinds of different arts. What I would tell Africa is that right now, if you're a coach, don't just rely on training your fighters, just let me say taekwondo alone, kickboxing alone, karate alone. Get to mixed martial arts. Because if we get to mixed martial arts, we'll make it big as Africa. Because if you could see somebody like Israel Adesanya from Nigeria, the 5 billion that he got, leave alone that 5 billion, he has fought a lot of fights, meaning that he's a billionaire for sure. Look at people like Mayweather. Mayweather he swims on dollars. He does everything that he wants because he has that money.
But money is what we see at the end of it all.
That's true. This business also for our fighters and for us too. Let's not lie. Let's call a spade, not a big spoon. So what we do say is that if we could get 1 Kenyan or 2 Kenyans who are professional fighters, then they get maybe billions or any kind of payments from UFC. Then they come invest in the country. That will change the lifestyle of many people in the society. And that's my plan.
For real. And Wilson, how has it been simple or tough for the Federation to raise finances for its operations?
It's very tough for now because we, the officials, are the one funding everything.
How do you do that?
From our own pockets. we don't have any sponsor. That's why we are pleading to sponsors to have a hand in this, to make things easy for our fighters.
What do you think will attract the sponsors?
The more we do the upcoming events, tournaments, and seminars, and the more fighters show up, they fight the techniques, the more I think we'll fight those sponsors.
Is that enough?
That's enough, because what I could say is that for sure getting sponsors is that you have to show them what you can do with them, because there's no brand, there's no sponsor who can come to you that I'm ready to help you. Then there's another thing that I always talk about sponsors. Sponsorship doesn't mean financial only. Somebody can come and tell you, guys, I have a boxing ring for you. That's sponsorship. Even you yourself, you can come and tell us, Takid, you know what, I've just brought the punching pads for you. That's sponsorship. You've sponsored us. Because many people or many leaders of different federations or different organizations maybe are always all about financial, and that's where corruption starts, Bernard. Because maybe I would be given like 10 million by a sponsor. Then remember our CS Ababuna Mwamba talked about briefcase federations. What did he mean? There's no physical office and there's no account. Most federations are not registered. In fact, a lot of federations in Kenya are not registered. They're just securing names, which should be mandatory. They should also register. So if you're not registered, there's no way you can go and open an account. And if you don't have an account, then you have sponsors. How will you do it for sure? You'll just be given the money as the federation officials, put it in pocket or in your accounts. Then later, the 10 million, the only thing will be used maybe is 200,000. The remaining 9.8 million maybe will go to officials to buy big cars, big houses. And yet, our fighters are suffering. behind the scene. No. If there are no fighters, there's no federation. That's what I'll say, and I'll continue saying. You know, the reason why I do talk about all these things about corruption is that we were also fighters. I'm just not a president who is from another organization. Yeah. I'm a president who has fought from
there.
Yeah, I've been there. I've gone through all these tough things. Remember, I grew up in Dandora. And the reason I started martial arts at the age of 12, Dandora is a tough place. I had to have some self-defense. Wilson also, I started training Wilson while he was in Form 1 in Dandora Secondary. And he made it until now he's here. He's been a champion for his weight in kickboxing. Then, if you look at all these, we know what living in a slum or in a ghetto is and how hard making it to any international level is. And I'm also proud that even all these ghettos can produce leaders in anything. No one was born a leader. You can make a leader also. Because right now, you see, I'm a president of World Kickboxing Federation Kenya, and I came all the way from Dandora also. So I would also give more encouragements to the youth that you can make it. Provided work hard, you can make it.
How does that make you feel? Like you made strides along the way, despite the fact that there was limited opportunity from where you are when you were young, and all that limited opportunity. Kickboxing was the only way out, but it wasn't automatic, right?
It wasn't automatic. I went through it. I went through everything. Remember, we were going through hardship and what. And remember where I grew up, if you didn't have any discipline, you won't make it for sure. Because most of the youth, the only thing that brings the youth down is what they use mostly. The drugs, peer pressure. Some tell you if you smoke, if you do this, if you maybe. That's why anti-doping is really good in all these sports. Because if we don't have all that, then we'll mess as a sporting industry for sure. So to me, what I always say, my happiness as being the president is one thing, and not the power or anything. It's only that I could make it by bringing up good players through what I went through also, and I could also change the society in what they do in martial arts. And remember, I don't only talk about kickboxing. I'm talking about combat sports, all combat sports. Because right now I'm talking about World Kickboxing Federation Kenya here, but maybe there would be something for other fighters from different martial arts companies. But we could even come together and have a big combat sports martial arts championship here in Kenya, if we could come together as different leaders from different martial arts.
Yes, so, indeed. Yes, and Kevin, we talked about how you're bracing yourself to make sure that the young ones that you go through your hand really get up to the international standard, or to the international level. They feature for the national team, as well as they all achieve their aspirations as far as kickboxing is concerned. But as you do that, what are the challenges that maybe you've gone through to get where you are right now, and even as you continue with your coaching roles?
Okay. Generally, we are going through a lot of challenges as a federation, as the president and the secretary general has said there. We don't have, like, let's say, the equipment, the things that we are required to have, that we use for training, that can help us to achieve to the level that we want. And in most cases, you find our fighters too. There are some of them who are having talents, but now they don't have the resources that can push them to that. Maybe some of them doesn't have a job, so you find them, they come for training. Then after training, they have nothing to feed on back there at home. Some of them are also staying by themselves, so they can come to train, going back, the caretaker is there, or the landlord asking for rent, so they can't afford such things. And even the training equipments, and even things like, let me say, like medication. So you find that maybe a fighter has gone there, he has played, but coming back home, the fighter, he or she cannot get the proper medication because of lack of funds. That's why we are asking the sponsors. I know there are many people outside there that are seeing us here, and there are many people who are able to lift this sport as a whole. So I'm just requesting people outside there, those people who are seeing us right now, those people who wish well for their kids. If you train like this lady, you've not just trained the lady for the family. You've done this thing for the whole world. Because what she will bring to the country, maybe one day when she become a national or a professional fighter, all these things will try to empower even our youths down here. And the sport as a whole, those people who are training, you will find most of them, they don't indulge into things like drug addicts. So those are some of the challenges that we are getting because we don't have the enough support. So a fighter sometimes gets the depression. He or she cannot get what he needs. That's make the fighter maybe to even stop training because he doesn't see the need because he trains and doesn't get anything from it. However much they have gotten some little achievement from the sport, as you can see, some of them are having the medals here, they even the certificates. There are some of them also having maybe they forgot to carry their trophies. Some of them also have those are the little achievements that they have gotten from the sport. But now, even if he has the medal or she has the medal, but there's no capital that he can feed on, you find that it's becoming difficult for our players. Those generally the main concern that we are having as a team or me as a coach or as a federation is the support. We don't have the support. Let's talk the capital to push us to get what that we need.
Yes, and maybe they can talk about the medals that they are putting on their necks. When was this? Was it at the Nakuru Championship?
Yeah, this one they got from the just concluded game. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the lady was participating in the bantamweight ladies, where she became second place. We have got Atomic here, Meshach Atomic. He was competing in the welterweight, where he became in the first place. And we also have Ian, who became the first place also in the featherweight category in the just concluded game. Yeah.
Yes, and maybe how do those medals motivate them? Maybe you can speak on their behalf.
On their behalf.
Yes.
Okay, generally
how crucial were the medals to them?
Okay, like what I can say over from my experience, this is just a form of pride. At some point, when you come from the game, and you've been awarded something like this, when you go put it there in your room, at least it gives you memory. It gives you memory of what you've gone through or what you've worked for. It's always also an encouragement because you will be wanting to have many medals. So it will always give them the morale to train each and every day without ceasing.
Yes, maybe you have you can say their names and where the clubs that they feature for, the clubs that they play for.
Okay, the lady here she's called Caroline Chepchirchir from Dragon Fitness Arena, Dagoretti Corner. Here we have Atomic Meshach Atomic from Kayole, Hardcore Gym. And here we have Ian Lee Kipto from Takids at Gidurai 44.
Yes,
yeah.
Atomic, Chepchirchir and Ian Lee, those are the MMA athletes in the studio. That's Kevin Onyango, who is also their coach. Back to Takid. So we're talking about the programs that the federation has, right? What's next, and how do you carry forward from the good outing that you had in Nakuru?
Okay, now from the good outing that I had in Nakuru, or from Nakuru, is that it's really motivated me. And now our next championship will be on the 26th of August, and that's Governor's Cup. And we are willing that, or hoping that the governor himself will give us a chance to go meet him, talk to him, and see how we can do it, because it should be in Charter Hall. Then now we are waiting for maybe a week or two. If we'll make to have the hall itself, because 26th of August is just around the corner.
Yes,
just like, let's say 3 weeks, yeah, because there are another 1 week for preparations and different things. So it will be like maybe 3 weeks from now. So I'm sure that it will work, because me with my calendar, I don't want to let anything pass. I must go through with the calendar the way I've just put it, because we'll be having a Governor's Cup That will be on the 26th, all styles. That's Charter Hall. We'll be having coaching and referee seminar again. That will be all styles in Kiambu. Then national team selection will be on the 28th of October. That will be in Nairobi, Kasarani. Then after that, the ladies, only ladies, women, World Kickboxing Africa Women Championship. That will be in Tanzania. That's November 25th. Then Kenya Open will be in Mombasa. And after that, we'll be closing the calendar for 2023-2024.
Yes.
So all these things, what we need is sponsorship. In fact, you asked my Secretary General, Mr. Wilson Chege, about how we fund all these championships.
Yes.
While we were at the seminar in Kayole, the best thing is that Kayole Social Hall too does for county government. And the county government for sure is working well and hard to make sure that all we sportsmen or all we youth that have different talents are using the recreational activity centers for free. So we had it for free, then we had to look for certificates and different things to facilitate. Because another thing with the World Kickboxing Federation Kenya that I didn't talk about, we did talk about mental health, which we have one of our members who is known as Mr. Julius. He's a good guy. He has his place known as chapter place, in Ruai, Kamulu area, which deals with all these things of mental health, drug abuse and everything. We also talk about environmental management with different people, like friends like Martin also. So with WKF, we don't only deal with kicking and punching, we deal with different kinds of things for the society, for the growth of the youth. So another thing, Nakuru, we had to dig deeper into our pockets. Maybe one of the officials gets like 5K, the president gets the same, competition secretary the same, then we get like 20 or 30K, we go buy trophies, we go buy medals and have the tournaments. But now I know in the near future, we might have sponsors, just well winners. We are not talking about government for now, because we have to reach the, let me say, the 24 counties and the rules that the governing body of the sports ministry requires for every federation, for the government to come on board and support us. Yeah.
Listen, Wilson, how would you state the way the federation, has carried out its functions? Definitely encouraging so far. With the remaining quarter of the year, how do you think things should work out now?
So going forward, I think we'll still be digging from our pockets to finance the events, and we are also pleading for the sponsors to come on board, help us to reach the guys at the ghetto. This sport is mainly from the ghetto, as President said, the slums. Those guys are not well off financially, so if you help us reach them, we might help them too. So going forward, I think things will be smooth. Yeah.
And why do you think only the ghettos? Do you encourage fighters from the rest of the
most fighters in this MMAs and kickboxing come from ghettos and slums.
Yeah, even the footballers.
Yeah,
generally the sports. And others.
Yeah, and from the ghettos, you see they have limited financial muscles. Like me, I didn't have money. When I was training, I didn't have money to pay the coach. It's only I had the good-hearted coach, Mr. President. He trained me for free.
Paying now?
He has paid a lot. And even right now he's paying. You see, he's here with me. He took his time, energy, and he's here with me right now. If he wasn't paying, you see, even the presence here, that's the best thing. Even working with me in the office, and that's paying.
And and when you say that you come from the ghetto, for him to be here, he showed great stride of discipline for him to hold on up to now.
That's true. And can you imagine, I started training from Form 1, just the way I told you. Until now, I'm still with him. Meaning that if he didn't have discipline, I want to be with him. Because I've trained many people for many years, you see. But if you see me with him, meaning that he has discipline, he has dedication, self-control, and he's ambitious. He knows what he wants. And another thing with this office that I have with me, because even Coach Kevin Onyango there is the National Competition Secretary for World Kickboxing Federation Kenya. Him himself is Secretary General. We have Vice Chairman Technical, he's from Nakuru, Mr. Brian Ochieng. Brian Ochieng facilitated the Nakuru tournament. He paid the venue, he did what? With his own money from his pocket, you see. So the office that I have are people who are ready to work because it's passion. Right now, we're not talking about money, we're not talking about whatever. And that's what I can tell other clubs, that if anyone wants to join WKF, or maybe you see us having our own brands, we have different things, we have events. Don't think that we are being supported by the World Kickboxing Federation, world body, that there's any money coming in. No. It's the money from we. And if you are coming to our office, or you are coming as a club to join World Kickboxing Federation Kenya, thinking of making money just right away, that's a lie. Come to our office, be ready to work with us, be ready to chip in, be passionate, and put our fighters first. That's number one. Because we are also planning that whenever the fighter will be paid or getting something, even coaches should get something. Because the coaches who train these fighters are also from these ghettos. They live in a hard way for sure. Some even go without food just to make that the fighters get it to the level that they should be. Like now, Kayole Hardcore came to Nakuru. Takis went to Nakuru. The coaches sacrificed so that they would do what? They would pay for all these fighters to come. So it's just all about sacrifice and passion. Then you'll make it to this.
And the popular, Wilson, maybe I could ask you this. The popular one, the popular style in kickboxing.
So I can say the kickboxing itself is a style.
Yes.
Because in our WKF we have the main three ones are K1, Muay Thai, and kickboxing. For now, the most popular one is kickboxing. Yeah, we have full contact. That's like those guys you see them training there. That's full contact.
Yes.
No shirts, no headgears, no protective gears on your chest, only shin guards. That's kickboxing. Yeah.
And so in Kenya, how better are they placed to excel?
Come again?
In amongst the kickboxers in Kenya, what style does suit them for them to excel?
These styles depend with personal individuals. Like for me, I love kickboxing so much. But if you see Meshak Atomic, he's in Muay Thai. Another person may be in K1. Another one might like just boxing only, because we also have boxing in our WKF.
Yes.
So it depends with some individuals. Yeah.
And what does it take a player to excel mentally?
First of all, you have to be mentally strong. It's not an easy sport. You must be ready to receive blows.
Mentally meaning you fall, you have to rise very fast.
You have to be really strong mentally. Yeah, to be calculative. Maybe when in the ring, you must know how to learn your opponent, know his next step. You also calculate your next move. Otherwise, you'll be knocked out. Yeah.
What's your more favorite win? Your favorite match that you during your playing days?
It was at what do you call that boxing ring? Ikomba, Pal Pal.
Yeah, Pal.
That's where I play like 4 guys. And then there was this KDF guy called Adams. Then he knocked me out. That was my favorite day in kickboxing, because I learned from him that when you become too much overconfidence,
a winner.
Yeah, when you are always
you used to knock people down. That's the thing.
So the
That was
first,
like your first.
the first person I knocked them out, second one out, that one out. Then I was sure there's 4th guy. He's shorter than me. This is a walkover, walk in the park. But things turned opposite. He just pinned my jaw. Then I was like, oh, I want to continue. No, you are knocked out.
What happens really when someone is knocked out? You can't see what happens.
Yeah, you can see.
Yeah, like when you get knocked out.
Yeah.
What really?
You are
what
just
you see?
like in a coma for like 3-4 minutes. You are just like dead person.
Yeah.
Then after that, you start coming back.
But remember this, if you are knocked down, you don't realize, because you are the one who will be knocked down. The only people who realize are the ones who are watching.
And the spectators.
You're just
And
like
the guy who knocked you out.
So, Chege has been knocking people down for sure. Getting into the ring is good in kicking. Remember, all my players used to do taekwondo. So he used to knock people down. But that day, he knew very well that all will come well on inside. But the spinning kick was well calculated. But from then, he's been careful. Because once you're a fighter, don't lower your guards down. Always have your guards up. I think he lowered down knowing that, these are
just as short guys.
And what, I mean, talking about that, what comes to my mind is the opportunities available in martial arts general. Now you guys are advancing to heading federations and all. What would you say about the young, to the young ones, the upcoming ones? What are the opportunities available beyond playtime?
What I would say is that whenever you're training anything, don't train just because you want to be number one a coach, you want to be a professional player. You can train to be in a different field. You can also be a personal trainer to different people. That's number one thing. We have schools, these international schools, even our local schools, private and public. We also have our discipline forces that can be employing our youth through these sports. You remember that, because we also have there's Ulinzi, kickboxing. We have prisons, we have different like GSU Ward, NYS. So our youth can be employed anywhere. They can also be private bodyguards to different people. So it's a good sport, and it's something that if you work hard on, you can make it. Yeah.
Yes, and become coaches as well. How has CBC panned out for you guys? How has the new curriculum spelled for you guys?
For sure, the new curriculum is good. That's a good question. We'll be going to schools. Right now we have Roraka Academy in Dome. We have Garden Estate from also around there. And we have Brayburn School, also doing kickboxing, social doing kickboxing. But if you go to schools, sometimes you hear them talking about taekwondo, about karate, but we are telling them there's no difference about all these arts, because most people think that this art is brutal. No, it's not. It's the way you take it. And for knockout, the way SG Wilson has just talked about it, the knockout always comes automatically when you are open without your guards. Because even you, if you think of knocking someone out, you are the one who will be knocked out. It's always a calculation of openness. There's no the target is open, then you are hit at the weak point and you're down. So people should not fear about it. So we are going to schools also to empower them about all these kinds of martial arts. Then another thing with kickboxing, which people should know, is that if you want a good self-defense on the streets, kickboxing comes handy for sure.
Yes, and Wilson, parting shot from how the federation, the future of the federation, and how you guys are motivated to take it forward, especially the remaining events in the calendar.
So we are very ready for everything. We have every mechanism to take every event into place. But I have to advise parents. These arts are not demonic, because some parents think these arts are demonic. They are not demonic, those spiritual parents. These are disciplined arts. When your kids get in these arts, they'll be the best version of themselves ever. So please, parents, don't stop your kids from doing kickboxing, taekwondo, karate. Let them do it. It's not demonic.
Yes, that's Wilson Chege, the secretary for the World Kickboxing Federation of Kenya, and also we're talking to Yahuma Jaffet, who is the president of the federation in the country. So on the other side, there was Kevin Onyango with a team of boxers, of fighters, including Atomic, Chepchirchir, and Ian Lee. Thank you so much for watching Sports Check. On behalf of Lucy Mora, who was on the sign language interpreter for today, I'm Bernardo Kumu. Thank you for watching.